Close Up is brought to you by the Kia Sorento R, redefining the power of Kia.
Yes, good evening. Our country is overweight, hopelessly overweight. A report presented to this United Nations Earth Summit in Rio this week shows that we're well above average, but it's even worse for the Pacific Islands. Now, here are some eye-opening stats for you. The average world weight, that's the average weight of adult men and women globally, that is 62 kgs, right? The average here is 10 kilos more than that. That's the 29th on the global list. But here are the real fronters. The Aussies, they're 6th at just under 78. Samoa, 4th highest at almost 79 kilograms. And the States, well, they've upsized themselves to an embarrassing level. But then comes Tonga at just over 87 kgs. Remember, this is an average. And finally, top of a list you just do not want to be, top of Micronesia. Look at it. So why, after all of these years of being told that we, need to exercise more and eat less fat and eat more sugar, or less sugar rather, are we in the Pacific Islands tipping the scales? With the biggest Pacific community, of course, based in South Auckland, Jill Higgins hit the streets of Otara with a local health worker to see what's causing this bulging problem.
The South Pacific in South Auckland. The clothes, the colour and the cakes.
That's probably half a metre of chocolate log, huge portion sizes, and realistically though, that in a family 2 people could eat that.
Big portions and too much fat, sugar and salt.
We have a lot of takeaway outlets that sort of sell fried chicken, deep fried food, spring rolls.
Here we got chicken and chips.
Yeah, chicken and chips.
Chicken and chips, chicken and chips.
I don't know, we've only walked 20 metres and we've probably seen about 3-4 stores that sort of offer chicken and chips.
It is a wonderland of the wrong foods.
Whenever I walk past Otara, the smell comes to me straight away. So, no, it's not easy. It's really tempting and it's cheap.
It just shows what you're hiding it. So what do you got?
I got a pineapple pie.
Yeah, and how about you?
Sticky cheese pie.
Do you think these are good for you?
No, because too much fat in it. But I just like it because it's the taste and it's cheap.
Take a look. Tomatoes for $3.99 a bag, or banana pancakes $1 for 6. Greens for $1.99, or for half the price, 3 southern fried potatoes.
They don't have the money to buy healthier food, and if you look around here, there's no supermarket. The biggest supermarket is out in Manukau, which is probably 5 kilometres from here.
Now, some people literally just living off this kind of food.
Yeah. I predominantly work in schools and I see kids always stop at shops and takeaways to stop and buy a pie and a donut, and that's their breakfast. And nutritionally, there's no benefit from that food.
Lama Sanga works with kids like this, promoting health in schools.
We want to look at how we can sort of promote healthier foods within tuck shops, so it's bringing all the good stuff to the front and taking all the bad stuff to the back so kids sort of can't see it.
But it's tough getting the message to stick.
Do you ever kind of think about what you're eating and whether you should not be eating that kind of thing?
No, just buy anything. Eat the pineapple pie.
Do you think that's good for you?
Not really, but you have once in a while.
So if there's like one thing you could change, what would it be?
Just get rid of all these outlets, have a few available, but bombard people with the good stuff.
So if nothing seems to be working so far, what can be done to shed our excessive weight? With us now are South Auckland GP Dr Sam Fuimaonu and Middlemore Hospital's Clinical Head of Diabetes Dr Brandon Walker. Good to see both of you. We're losing this battle, aren't we? Hopelessly. I mean, this must be the 50th interview I've done on this. The stats are all the same. It's getting worse. Why are we losing?
Well, we're like all the countries around the world, really, that we're having increasing rates of obesity, and we're having it increasing in particular in certain ethnicities and in those that are poorest in well-to-do countries and those that are most wealthy in the poor countries of the world. And
so when they come to you and they're enormous and you go, look, this is not good, it's not healthy, you're going to have diabetes, you'll have heart trouble, you have all those problems, do they go, yeah, I know, or do they go, what, really? I didn't know?
It's a mix, Mike. The recognition of obesity in people that have obesity-related problems, such as diabetes, is actually a lot less than you would think. And so one of the things is being able to have people appreciate that they have a problem related to their weight and their lifestyle, when so much around them of increased weight and body size has become quite normal in society.
So the fact they don't breathe properly, the fact they might not participate in sport, all of those basic functions that you grew up with at school, they don't see that as abnormal in any way, shape or form?
I think one of the problems with obesity is that it tends to create problems down the line, and so you can get away with it for a long time. So the young person who's overweight is likely to still have good blood pressure, good respiratory function. They will not have worn out their knees. And it's only later that their health problems tend to start to develop. And by that stage, of course, the living patterns and the obesity are well rooted in that person's life.
Sam, how tough are you on the patients when they come to you with difficulties? I mean, do you lay it on the line with them or go, oh, never mind, we'll have some pills or you can do a bit of running and we'll come back?
I think when I would deal with patients, I think the best way of advocating is actually showing by example. You can lecture till the cows come home, basically, and that's what I find. It may just go in one ear and out the other, and so you may see the same sort of problem presenting itself again and again and again.
So when you say it's in one ear and out the other, they don't want to hear it?
They're aware of it, but whether they have the, shall we say, the ability or the, shall we say, if they have the need to sort of actually pursue that sort of course, basically.
How much do you blame that fast food thing we saw on the tape there? Is it fast food industry's fault if you line up all the chicken outlets, suddenly we can blame somebody else or not?
No, I believe that a lot of it actually is their behaviour, basically. I mean, like the three concepts I always look at. One is the calories in, calories out, but the other key component that's really missing is their behaviour. Is basically if you can work on the behavioural aspects, and a lot of them have sort of issues that they have to deal with. If we can deal with that, then you've got buy-in, basically.
And so you're the living, breathing example. I want to show a photo of what you were. Let's have a look at this. This should be fun. Look at the size of you, man. And I mean, how could you, to be blunt, how could you be a doctor and lecture people on obesity?
That was the thing. As a doctor, basically, there I was giving advice about losing weight, and then people would be looking at me and say, how could you give us advice when you yourself are not practising it? So the concept that I used was the best way to actually deal with that is, particularly in the Pacific, family is paramount. So what we did was created a family environment where your responsibility lies with the family, and the family I worked with is a group called Big Boys Club. So that became my family, so you were then responsible for them.
How much have you lost, by the way?
About 80 kilos. 80
kilos. So you were 180, you're what, now 100?
About 180, 85.
You're pretty comfortable? That's about where you want to be?
I still want to go down a little bit further.
How hard is it?
It's actually harder as you get lower and lower down, basically. Those last few kilos are always a real struggle. And the key thing is trying to maintain that behaviour, trying to maintain that sort of ability to focus. And that's where the concept of the group support to start off with, and then later on you get that one-on-one support, which makes the big difference. Because it is really your choice. It is whereby you have to be, to a certain extent, selfish, because you are looking after your own health needs.
And we got some of your group in tonight, and you're working with them. These are your mates. They're all doing well as well?
They're all working at it. There's a whole group of us basically working at it. So it's not finished. It's not finished yet. And we've still got quite a number of people out there that we want to work with and sort of bring their weight down.
Where do you stand on it, Brandon, as far as, is it diet, is it exercise, is it hard work the good old-fashioned way, or do you go down the surgery track, let's whack a band around the old tummy and tidy it up?
It's a complex problem, and there's different solutions for different people. I think what Sam's described, though, is that fundamentally the behaviour, the lifestyle of a person is the fundament to this. Back in the 1980s, this was much less a problem, and so this is something that has changed very much in the way we live our lives and lead our lives today. Diet alone probably isn't enough. Exercise alone certainly isn't enough. You need to combine both of those things and then maintain it. And Sam's talked about it's an ongoing living thing, and the thing that requires support to stay at a new level of weight and health.
Well, given how we started this discussion and we seem to be losing the battle, do you go down the regulation track? Do you limit the advertising of crap food, for example? Do you tax the fat food industry? All of that, or is that just irrelevant?
I don't think it's irrelevant, but I don't think that strategy alone is going to work. And so I would take the analogy of the other sorts of conditions that we have managed at a population health level to do well with, and those are communicable diseases and sort of accidents. And we've taken both a personal responsibility approach as well as controlling the environment. So you could think about that for motor vehicle crashes. It's safe driving, using the seat belts, but regulation in the way we use roads and construct roads. So it's environmental as well. And that's worked very well also for communicable diseases. So it's about safe water, safe sewage, but also doing things ourselves, such as washing our hands and our food practices.
Do you get to the kids break the cycle? I mean, if you get to them early and they don't grow up obese, surely that breaks the cycle, doesn't it?
I think that's the key, actually, is to working on the next generation, because they'll simply repeat what we're going through. So I believe getting in early is very important. So working on the families, to work on the children so they don't follow the example that we're leading at the moment.
Well, good luck with it. Appreciate you coming in on this Friday night. Nice to see both of you.
Thank you, Mike.